We shall try and fix the line with Maxwell, but you could see live pictures from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle. I think we have Maxwell back to give us updates on what's happening.
You find people doing business, but as it stands right now, that hustle and bustle that you usually would find, the beehive of activity that you usually would find around this time, productive hours, it's a bit missing, partially missing. Partially missing because at some point in time, like I was reporting earlier, police actually fired tear gas to the dispersed protesters who were protesting right in the middle of the road directly under the Circle interchange. Now, when that tear gas was fired, many of the people who were around couldn't withstand it. The camera team from Joy News, we had to run for cover. Many of the people, sellers, who were doing business on the side of the road had to run with their wares. Some of them, as it stands right now, have run back and have not returned. Some of the businesses very close within this Circle enclave where the protesters had been gathered right from morning. Some of them we've been interacting with here tell us that they were unable to do any meaningful business today. So those who sell water, those who sell drinks, cold drinks and all of that, they tell us that the business was okay, business was fine, because they had the hundreds of demonstrators, many of them coming to grab a bottle of water, some of them bottle of drinks, to quench their thirst. But for those who do not fall within this bracket, many of them were affected by the demonstration. A man who I spoke to earlier who operates an electrical shop just about 50 meters away from where I'm standing told me that he came to the shop as early as 9 o'clock a.m. and usually he closes at exactly 10 p.m. But he says today he's had to close his shop because of the chaos and because of how chaotic the protest has been so far. Many of the protesters, some of them pelting the police with stones. Let's show you some of these stones that they were throwing. You can see some of them here. And if you can see this police crowd control vehicle, you can see some of the dust, from the rocks that were thrown, on this police crowd control vehicle. So some of the business owners we've been speaking to tell us that it was a pretty much dangerous situation, for them. It was dangerous for them to work. And many tell us that they feared that their shops could be looted, or some of the protesters would actually come and vent their anger, on them. So they've had to close very early today. So for many parts of the Circle interchange area, where you usually find very busy activities going on, usually around this time of the day, that is partially absent now, and the entire street has actually been taken over by personnel of the Ghana Police Service. You can see many of them still here, many also deployed to the ground also to ensure that there's peace, here. About an hour ago, hundreds of protesters were gathered right in the middle of the road protesting. They had organizers of the demonstration, addressing them, and that created some kind of gridlock on this main Circle stretch. And for the top of the interchange, for those going directly to the Central Business District, it was a bumper-to-bumper traffic situation because some of the protesters had run to the top of the interchange, to seek cover. And in the process, they blocked the traffic in the process. Just some meters away from where I'm standing, we had thick black smoke, billowing right from the middle of the road. If we get there, you will see the suit still right in the middle of the road. Usually the traffic flow, as you can see right now, you see vehicle moving faster than they are moving now. Now they have to go a bit slow. There's some kind of, not really a bad traffic situation, but they have to move a bit slow because personnel of the Ghana Police Service have taken a section of the road. They've mounted some of their crash, barriers and a checkpoint, actually, I should say, right in the middle of the road, trying to still control the situation because they say some of the protesters are still lurking around and they are doing everything possible to push them back. So for business owners within the Circle enclave, for those who sell water, for those who sell drinks, it has been a good day of business for them because thousands of people gathered here at Circle to join the protest. So they made a lot of money. for those who do not fall within this bracket, who fall outside the bracket of water, cold drink, for them it has been a very slow business day for them. Many of them compelled by the situation to close their shops and go home because of how fast the situation was degenerating. Police, like I mentioned, fired tear gas many times. We were tear gas in the middle of our report. We had to rush into a home nearby to seek cover and pour water on our face and return here. Many of the sellers here tell us that they cannot withstand that, and they fear that they may lose their capital or lose their money in the process. So they left, closed their shops, and went home, Charles. So really, that is the situation here. But we can still see some of the protesters, around here where the protest happened, Charles.
Streets have been open to traffic. Early on, as Maxwell rightly stated, the entire place was gridlocked. Police had to cordon off the area to contain the protesters. But in all of this, we are picking up the theme of the harsh conditions, the harsh economic conditions that protesters are really raging about. And joining me via Zoom to expound the conversation around the IMF bailout, because this is what government is currently considering, is an associate professor of finance at the Andrews University Business School, USA, Dr. We're grateful, Doc, that you could join us. First of all, you have seen the videos, you have seen the live pictures. What do you make of the ongoing protests and its impact on Ghana's business environment, the signals being sent out there?
Thank you very much, Charles, for calling me this hour. So what is really happening now in terms of demonstration is a result of citizens in Ghana who are not happy about how the financial situation of the country is being positioned. So, and all this has come, we have gotten to this point because of our balance of payment, which is not very solid, and whereby it's having a lot of exchange rate impact on our currency, let it be being devalued. And as a result, prices are going up in terms of inflation. And then when it becomes a point that the income of citizens are not able to meet their basic needs, not wants, needs, you realize that citizens will get to the demonstrating part. Indeed, this could have been prevented should government have listened to some of us somewhere last year when we realized that the country was experiencing some liquidity challenges. Government tried to address the liquidity challenges by introducing the e-levy tax to bring in revenue, and most of us advocated for government raising revenue. But we realized that, and also mentioned, that the e-levy is not bringing in as much as is needed. So what it really means is that government may have to think out of the box. And looking at our debt levels now, it is not a proper or prudent measure for government to go and borrow at non-concessionary rate or high interest rate. It is time government look at where he can get funds cheaper to come and shore up the depleting international our net reserves. So the best option for us as a country and where we find ourselves is rather to go to IMF, where we are members of the fund, and they can give us loan or non-concessionary loan or concessionary loan at a very reduced interest rate. And even sometimes you'll be able to argue well, attach some pro-poor programs to our negotiation. IMF may decide to give the loans to us without any interest payments. And then also, IMF may also consider to give us a long period of time to make the repayment plan, which gives Ghana a room to be able to operate. So this is where we find ourselves as a country, and I think that as government is considering, they may have to think fast, take the decision faster than was decided planned, and because it is being noticed that getting money into the country to shore up our reserves is becoming a challenge in that taxes are going to be reduced, and which will affect the whole economy, and
All right.
government must act faster.
If we could.